In fact, if I go back and I hear anybody, I will come here. This is my property. And you don't have any power whatsoever to bar me from entering it. Yes, just try it. That part of your history as a very wicked and fraudulent Inspector General of Police will include shooting Fubara. Yes. I think I've given you enough respect. Well, let me say it to all Rivers indigents, everyone residing in Rivers State.
In your opinion, is this emergency rule a deliberate attempt to weaken the opposition and favor Wike's interest, or is it a genuine response to a security crisis?
I don't have any iota of belief that this is an orchestrated, an imposed, self-imposed control by the president on a state that is predominantly a PDP state. There are conditions, even if you want to state to organize an emergency or whatever. To me, it's a revisit of a democratic Armageddon in Nigeria. And we have to be extremely, very, very careful. What was the prevailing situation in Rivers? Was there a general violence across the state? There was dispute amongst the assembly members and the governor. After the Supreme Court judgment, the governor addressed the state that there must be calmness. And he even went to the extent of going that he will meet the directives of the Supreme Court, despite the fact that the judgment itself from Supreme Court, you have had so many juries, panels that have looked at it. In fact, there was a professor who emphatically stated that that judgment is not right because there had been a judgment by a 7-panel members of the Supreme Court, that this other one was by a 5-panel member. And the governor made sure he addressed these people, talked to them. He was calm, he was civil, he was very humble. Despite that, President Tinubu invited Pandef, the leaders, the Ijaw leaders across this country, from Ondo State all the way to Akwa Ibom. And he spoke with them and asked them, go home and resolve this. Only the second day, Wike now addressed the press. Where is that done? Once your boss has spoken, do you have to make any further comments that will aggravate the situation? And then by the third day, he had issued an order that was not cleared with the parliament, that these guys should be removed and to be suspended. And people have come, I'm not a lawyer, I wish I was, but people like Falano and so many other brilliant lawyers in this country have come to say that you don't do things like this. You cannot sign a gazette and then you are now trying now to send it to the parliament for approval. It should have been discussed and approved and then forwarded to you before you release it. That wasn't what he did. And so, the totality of it is, okay, you want to grab Rivers State, the people will decide. But the way you are going reminds me so much of what happened in 1962 in Western region. I have here the comments, the speech made by Baba Awolowo at the federal parliament. You know what he said? He said, look, before you decide to say that you will take over that Western region, you know, they set up this same, you know, what do you call it? Emergency. And he said, Mr. Prime Minister, I'm quoting him now. What is a public emergency? What is a state of public emergency? This is Baba talking. May I say that my view, quite candidly, is that a state of public emergency arises only when there is widespread violence in any part of the Federation. Was there a widespread violence in Rivers State? I heard the Attorney General saying, no, he demolished the building, the House of Assembly building. They said the building, the governor replied that the building that he destroyed was for a revisit to rebuild it because it was already cracking up. They blew up a pipe. So, is this the first time they are blowing pipes all over the place? Was there a widespread violation? So why did you jump the gun? And this is a party, this is a state controlled by the opposition. Now, what are we now saying for the future? I want to advise, Mr. President, you can only define and know a crisis when it starts. You don't know how it would end. I want to beg you, and I want to beg Nigerians, kadankada, like they say in Hausa land, wayo wayo, as they say in Igbo, and tejejeo, like we say in Yoruba land.
Absolutely.
I am pleading. It is
right,
a revisitation of democratic Armageddon.
Yes.
Let us be careful.
We have to.
Let us be careful.
Yes. Chief Bode George, I just want to pick on what you said, describing this as one step towards a democratic Armageddon, and truly the people will decide. But how does this weaken the respect for the rule of law as we look forward to the 2027 elections and how we are seeing a lot of alliances, a lot of coalitions? In terms of respect, which is going to be the foundation upon which a lot of this entire election decisions and choices are going to be built, including people who will be voting, how does this weaken that trust?
You know, and I want to advise also on a national plate. And all those people who are jostling, moving, ruling, hunting to be president of this country. You know, a rolling stone gathers no moist. All those people who are saying, oh, we are going to set up another, a mega party. Is there any one of them who is not ambitious to be president of Nigeria? Is there any one of those people? Is that the real approach to solving this problem? For me, it started like a little mess at our national convention. Some of us advised that this party, our party, is not a private fiefdom. It's not a private enterprise for anybody. Nobody listened. And then Wike started on his own, and he had gone beyond the red line. Let me tell you, I am praying that this month of Ramadan, this month of Lent, that the Almighty God, the Spirit is blowing through Nigeria. I want to plead with our people. Be prayerful. Let us submit ourselves to the grace, the protection, and the teachings of the Almighty God. If we miss it, Akirewele Lemeji, 1962 crisis led us to the first coup in 1966, the counter coup in 1966, and then the Civil War. People who had absolutely nothing to do with that crisis that started in the House of Assembly in the Western region engulfed the whole nation. And then so many of our leaders were murdered. 1983, Shagari's period, Papa Jasin and Baba Omobori Owo, the crisis led also to the downfall of President Shagari's government. Have we learned anything from history? What is it in life? Is there any life that is perpetual? Is there anybody who thinks he can live forever? Do unto others what you want them to do for you. When Baba Obasanjo was president, we had a big crisis in Osun State between Ife and Modakeke. The governor went to Baba Obasanjo to say, look, sir, I needed support. The security situation in my state was getting out of hand. Baba Obasanjo sent me, only me, to go and meet the governor. I went to Ife. We were in different political parties, but the approach was different. I sat with Papa in the morning. We had breakfast together. I told him I didn't have much information or knowledge about Osun State. Give me one man, a knowledgeable person. We both, myself and that man, we sat together, met the Ife people. I didn't try to change it to a political advantage for PDP. No. We met the demands. We listened to the people, and we found a solution. Within 5 days, it was all resolved. Crisis that had been there for long, more than what you can think of. Eventually, they all agreed. And since that time till today, nothing has happened in Ife Modakeke. Do you think there is any nation that won't have crisis, that won't have disagreement, or a party or whatever? All these groups who are running around for their personal ambition, look, they are making a monumental mistake. And they are all dancing on the graves of our founding fathers.
I'm so happy that you talked about former President Olusegun Obasanjo, and some analysts have said that the current president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is simply taking a cue, from our past leaders like President Olusegun Obasanjo and President Goodluck Jonathan, who during their time also imposed state of emergencies in some states. So really, what is the big deal, so to speak, in what the president have done, seeing that the PDP under its administration also did the same?
You know the difference. Let me start from Jonathan. No single elected member in the Borno and Yobe and Adamawa state, no single governor was removed. Yes, there was violence across the states. People were being murdered. School children were being abducted. There was a breakdown of law and order. But he did not remove any governor. Now, Bola Tinubu has added another extra
but Chief Olusegun
to the
Obasanjo
face
did
of the
suspend
Constitution.
Governor Dariye of Plateau State at that time. President Obasanjo at that time did suspend Dariye.
There was crisis, yes. He suspended Dariye, and you can when you look back into it, when you look deeper into it, the crisis came up. Dariye was a member of our party. He was a governor in Plateau State that belonged to PDP. So he was not undermining an opposition party. The hue and cry came from the people of Plateau State. He came from the people of Plateau State. And so it's a completely different ball game now. I have said it. What is the violence? Where is the wreck in Rivers that will prompt Bola Tinubu to say you suspend an elected person? And our constitution has stated clearly that you have no right. It's unconstitutional for you to suspend an elected governor and an elected member, and they should report now to you, to the cabinet office. What a charade. It is not acceptable. It is not on. You know what it reminds me? You are now behaving like a military governor, like a military president. the judiciary and the executive and the legislative arm are independent but equal in powers. What are we seeing? The voice of Jacob and the hand of Esau. What are we doing, for God's sake?
Now, Chief Bode George.
Baba Tinubu, please, Tejeje, you have to be very, extremely careful. I've told you, everything that is happening today happened before 1962. You should take the speech read by Baba Awolowo in the parliament. It was like as if he was a soothsayer. And now, where is the violence in Rivers? And I want to please Rivers people, both the mainland and the riverine people, I beg you, be resilient, be quiet, don't be violent. Put a shame on what they have called you. Put a shame on them by remaining perfectly submissive to the goodness of the Almighty God. Please, don't create any violence. Look at that.
Good evening, my people. Welcome to Local Matter. Another breaking news don't dey like this. So many leaders don't come out, don't they criticize the idea of Bola Ahmed Tinubu for his emergency declaration in Rivers State. But the fact is that it is unconstitutional. Make president remove or suspended an elected governor from office. But as the matter long, so even this thing don't happen when Goodluck been in power. Goodluck been declared state of emergency for Borno State, but Goodluck didn't remove their governor from office. But I don't know why Fubara on the different. So because the way they see this thing, even as Tinubu want to showcase himself as a miscreant to play a policies of favoritism in River State. So because now waiting they won't try to be that. So as it be, so Mona watch this video now, Mona hear waiting Goodluck they talk about this declaration for inside this video. And if today be the first time where they come across this channel, I beg don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so that whenever we drop another Obonga video, then go be the first person we go see him.
We're talking about building a society where no one is oppressed, as reflected in the top paragraph of our national anthem. As a former president and also from the Niger Delta, when the issue of suspending the governor came up, I think people call on me, oh, President Jonathan, oh, President Obasanjo, you should say something. People expected us to say something about what is happening. And of course, people don't even know that traditionally all over the world, former presidents hardly make statements about what the current presidents are doing because of the tension it could create in the country. In most cases, look at America, look at everywhere. So hardly for former presidents to make, sometimes you see. And of course, what is happening in Nigeria today regarding the situation in River State is like an Indian proverb that said that if somebody is sleeping, really sleeping, you can easily wake up that person. But if the person is pretending to sleep, you find it difficult to wake up that person. The key actors in Nigeria, from executive to the legislature, luckily Senator Binta and others are here, and the judiciary, they know the correct thing to do. But they are refusing to do it. They are pretending to sleep. And waking such a person is extremely difficult because the person knows the right thing. A clear abuse of offices, clear abuse of power, clear abuse of privileges, cutting across from the three arms of government, from the executive to the parliament to the judiciary. And I always plead with our people that whatever we do affects everybody. And sometimes we do things and we think that it doesn't affect us. I've been a president before, and even after leaving office as a former president, people get to me. Why is that our passport is not valued that much? Why is that Nigerians are not given the kind of treatment we're supposed to receive at the international airports? Sometimes we think it's because of Yahoo boys or 419ers. No, not only them. Yes, they are part of the problem. But whatever happens in a country, decisions that are taken by the executive arm of government, decisions that are taken by the parliament, judicial decisions affect everybody. For example, no businessman can bring his money to invest in a country where the judiciary